Val to lead us in prayer, and Commissioner White to lead us in the pledge. Please stand.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today to give you honor, to give you praise, to thank you for being so good to us. Thank you for our salvation. Thank you, Lord, for everything that you give us each and every day. Please forgive us of our sins. Lord, we know that there are many. We pray that you make us worthy today to call down this prayer of blessing on this body, on this committee, on the people that try to represent your people. We pray, Lord, that as we discuss business that affects your people today, that you would enter into the hearts and the minds of each and every one of us. Give us your wisdom, your discernment to make decisions that will please you. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Let's observe the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I've been going to a little church out in Dutch Valley for 50 or 60 years, and one of the favorite songs that we sing at our church is Amazing Grace. And about 3 weeks ago, we had some type of a little get-together there at the church, and the pastor asked me, would you lead us in Amazing Grace? I couldn't think of the word. I mean, we sang it, and I was afraid that might happen here. Thank you.
Robbie, we do roll call, please.
Commissioner Mays, absent. Commissioner Foster.
Here.
Commissioner Vandegrift.
Here.
Commissioner Val.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Wells is absent. Commissioner Beauchamp.
Here.
And Commissioner Smallridge.
Here. Okay. And first item of business is appearance of citizens. Would anybody like to come approach things on the agenda or not on the agenda? Okay, moving on. Next item is a continuation from last month. We had invited Public Defender Ann Correa to come talk to us, and she's first on the agenda. So if she would like to come up to the podium, talk to us, and then take some questions from the committee.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hope all of you all are well. Thank you for inviting me. To be clear, I wasn't here last time. So before I say anything, could I ask you to clarify to me what was represented to this body regarding the stance of my office that was taken in regard to an inmate?
So and I wasn't here either as the chairman, so,
Right.
but I know some people had some questions, and Commissioner Beauchamp, I know you had some. Would you like to kind of give the background? And Commissioner Mays also kind of has, but he's not here, so.
I think we should let Sheriff Barker talk
Okay.
about, what we were discussing last month, and then Ms. Correa will get the purview of what we were talking about, and then we'll come back to her of what was going on last
Okay.
meeting.
That would be
So
helpful.
she knows what's going on.
Right, that's what, and I'm sorry I don't have a good synopsis for you, but
No, that's
I wasn't in
fine. I
attendance
just
either.
didn't want to put words in anybody's mouth about what was said when I wasn't here. That didn't seem fair.
Okay, thank you. Sheriff?
So just to recap briefly, we have an inmate who has been charged with a capital murder, and while in our custody became ill. We sought medical treatment, found he had some issues with a mass on his brain. And as that process went along, we decided that we would petition the state of Tennessee for the Department of Corrections to put him in a special needs unit pre-conviction. Our argument is that with us having only LPNs, and at the time we did that, we did not have 24-hour nursing, that it would be best for him and his care to go to special needs unit down in Nashville. We got that worked out with them. They sent the document over for us to have the public defender's office sign. They did not sign it, and instead filed a writ of mandamus against me in criminal court. So we had a hearing, and the purpose of being here was to notify this committee that we were looking at potentially up to $1 million we're guessing that that's the kind of money we were looking at, that these surgeries ended up costing us. And that's why I was here last time.
So, to clarify things a little bit, I don't think that everything Sheriff Barker said is completely, I think there are some more facts. We are appointed to represent the gentleman in question. He is charged with first-degree murder. He did develop the medical situation. Very unfortunate confluence of events. My office does everything we can to help alleviate costs for the county whenever possible. In fact, the jail often seeks our assistance in pretrial releasing people who are in the hospital so that the county doesn't incur these costs. That being said, we are their lawyers, and we have an ethical duty that rises above saving taxpayer money. We cannot agree to sign an order that our client does not want us to sign. As much as I may want to do that, sometimes I cannot do that. Even when clients are being pretrial released from the hospital, like I've had a client in the hospital with IV antibiotics, it's costing the jail an enormous amount of money. Could I ask that Sheriff Barker not stand behind me and shoot daggers in my back? This is hard enough.
No.
Thank you.
You care to sit down till?
Thank you.
That amic's a little ridiculous.
I'm trying not to make this personal. It has never been personal for me. It is professional.
That sure felt personal.
Guys, talk to the, address the
It
chair,
is
please.
absolutely not personal. Whatever the sheriff's department chooses to believe. We could not sign an agreed order. The district attorney's office had filed a motion to have this individual transferred to TDOC custody. We oftentimes in our criminal court cases agree to a lot of things. And it serves every party involved, whether it's the district attorney, the victims in cases, the defendants, for that to happen. But we can't always agree to things. It is a judicial system that operates in an adversarial mode. And that motion could have been set for a hearing in front of Judge Tuck where the case was pending, and that transfer that eventually did occur could have occurred without our agreement. So I'm not faulting anybody for that, but neither is it our obligation to sign agreed orders. We can't when our client does not agree to that. We also did make efforts, and we have documentation to find out if that individual would be served and have his operation done in a timely fashion if he were transferred to TDOC. They could not assure us that that would happen, and he was, quite honestly, deteriorating rapidly. I can't speak to that as a medical professional. That's all really we could do, and it's horrible. I would hate to ever make the county spend. I don't have the power to make the county spend money. The statutes of Tennessee obligate the county legislative body under TCA 88201, and the sheriff, that's his duties under 88201, and the TCA statute that gives medical care to this body to care for the inmates. Those are the laws that dictate this. We try to alleviate those costs whenever possible. We just simply could not sign an agreed order to that effect. And I don't know the solutions long-term for this county. I'm a taxpayer. I live and work here, and I pay taxes. I do not want to make taxpayers' costs go up ever. In fact, I try to run my office in the most efficient way to make state taxes not go up. But I do want the clarification that I always am bound by my ethical duties as a lawyer, and they come first, and my client's obligations over everything else, because I wouldn't be doing my job correctly if I didn't obey those rules as well. And I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to our point of view.
Sheriff, I'll come to you, then the committee, I'll come to you guys for questions.
Thank you.
So just briefly, again, I was here to notify this committee that, because you guys were looking at other potential projects and spending money. I thought it would be best if we notified this committee that we potentially had this money hanging out there on the horizon. I never said it was about the money, as Ann just indicated, trying to save taxpayers' money. I said it was about this gentleman's medical care. It's a special needs facility. I think he was better served down there than in the Anderson County Jail with LPNs. And at the time, we didn't have around the clock. Now, the cost was incurred from more than one surgery. And in addition to that, because we couldn't provide post-op care like he was required, he stayed in the hospital. That is what I'm saying. And if I understand Ann correctly, the CCA she's quoting, it talked about that this body, meaning Anderson County government, Anderson County Commission, is who is responsible for that. Then my question would be, why was the writ of mandamus filed by her office against me personally? It's styled the defendant versus Russell Barker. And if she knew that going in, then why file the writ of mandamus? And what that basically is, and we can let Ann correct me on that, because I'm definitely not an attorney, but it is an order. They were asking for an order from the judge to be put down that says Sheriff Barker will do his job. When their own testimony that day was, they had no indication, they had no reason to believe I hadn't done my job, and had no indication that I wouldn't do my job. And so she talked about earlier that this isn't personal. That sure feels personal when they're asking a judge to tell me to do my job, when in fact, Mr. Moynihan even said in court that I had done my job and he had no reason to believe I wouldn't. So again, Ann's kind of muddying the waters in my opinion, where we have the money is a separate issue from the reason that we asked for that to begin with. It was about this gentleman's health care. We're just not set up for that.
Thank you. Committee, does anybody have any questions?
I got lots. Anybody else want to go?
Yeah, anybody else want to go first? Commissioner Beauchamp?
All right, Ms. Correa, this will be for you, but for everybody up here, I want to put this disclaimer out here. I do have to work with the Public Defender's Office in my full-time job, and we always have a good working relationship. So I have two separate jobs, and I try to play those roles very carefully from my day job to this job that I'm elected to do. So hope that you understand that this is elected, and this doesn't have anything to do with the attorneys and our working relationship. So I had to put that out there. So in the meantime, since I've been digging around, and I do have the actual lawsuit here, and I've read over it in its entirety, the writ of mandamus. And a writ of mandamus is pretty serious. I mean, you're telling an elected official that they did not comply with the job that they're to do under the state of Tennessee. So whenever I was told this last budget meeting, I asked Jay to get me all the stuff regarding this actual case, and I don't know why the writ of mandamus was filed, but in the meantime, I've since learned some things that is kind of worrisome. Did Mr. Moynihan have a valid Tennessee license when he filed this?
He did. He had a provisional license under the state of Tennessee. That was, he was here under a provisional license for his full license to be granted.
How long did they grant that?
They just granted it recently.
They granted it on March 18th.
That's correct.
But he did not have a valid Tennessee
It
license.
is a
when he
valid
filed that.
license. It's just provisionally granted till his full license. Just to be clear, those are two different things.
I know what they are, but I'm just saying, when he was signing this petition on September 5th, he was not a licensed attorney.
He
with the
was
state of
a
Tennessee.
licensed attorney in the state of Tennessee under a provisional license. It is different. I'm not trying to be argumentative.
I know, but I'm just saying, whenever I called the Board of Professional Responsibility, they have no knowledge of him. They had no knowledge of him until May 18th. March 18th.
I can give the body copies of his provisional license.
I would like that.
That's fine. I would like to, if I could respond regarding the writ. At the time that we filed the writ, it was unclear that it's hard not to say his name, this client was going to be taken to the scheduled surgery that was scheduled the following week. And we had no assurances that he would, any time from TDOC, that it would be done in any kind of haste at all. They could give us no assurances about when he would be seen. And he was literally, he could not stand, and he was getting to where he couldn't communicate with us. And his doctors all said it was urgent. We had medical proof of that. How, regardless of whatever happened, the judge did not grant that writ. It was denied. So, and the court found that it was moot because the sheriff hadn't failed to act. So that, whatever might or might not have happened, it didn't happen. The writ was not granted.
Yes.
So just to be clear to this body, we did file that because we were worried he was not going to get the surgery. We were concerned about our client, which is our job to be. And, but it wasn't granted. And then it was up to the sheriff to decide whether to take him or delay the surgery or try to hurry up and get him taken to TDOC. They could have tried to have their motion heard the following week and try to get him moved on. Those are all things that could have happened. We did not dictate the outcome. We just couldn't agree to the order. I want to make that clear. And I think the writ is muddying the water, and Mr. Moynihan's provisional license. I'm not trying to deflect those issues. They're just not, I think, relevant to this man's medical care and why we didn't sign the order.
Well, I just want to make sure, because if he didn't have a valid Tennessee law license, then we got a lot more in this county to worry about than just a $1 million medical bill. We've got defendants out here that think that we're solely responsible, and we have nothing to do with it. So that's what my concern is what's next.
He
So
does have a provision.
I want to make sure that at this time he had the license, because the Board of Professional Responsibility told me he did not.
He did not have a full license. He did have a provisional license. He had a bar card with the provisional license. And I can't hire an attorney without at least a provisional license. My conference will not let me.
Okay. I would like for you to get that.
I'll be
to us.
happy to
If
provide
you'll
that.
provide that to Robbie, can you get that
Yes,
to the
he'll
committee?
get it to us. And then I'm looking at this from what the jail had sent. I think it was Sergeant Cornett had sent asking for this transport. And he sent this quite a while back. He sent this in August. And then the writ was...
I think the motion was filed in August, if I'm not
The writ
mistaken.
was filed in September.
Correct.
And so in the meantime, the jail is understanding that, and Kenny, or I think I saw Lieutenant Allen, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Sheriff Barker, he can correct me. But you guys sent this off to notify that we need to get him down there to TDOC so he can get the proper medical care. Is that my understanding? On August the 11th?
Yes, we believed that. We believed that was for his best well-being.
Yes.
That he be in Nashville at the special needs unit, where they take persons such as himself who have some dire medical needs, as opposed to the Anderson County Jail.
So you all sent that on August 11th, and then we've got a couple of different things here where they're filed in, looks like September 5th.
That sounds correct. Honestly, I couldn't tell you when we sent it down, because Chief Allen and even Captain Val would probably have knowledge of that as far as the dates. But I do know that it was what I was told as the sheriff is that we had filed that paperwork. They agreed to it. We sent it, and the public defender's office said it didn't work for them. They wouldn't sign it.
Now, Sheriff Barker, tell me what control that you have over the jail and the inmates. If they need medical, is that under you? Do
The
you get to
statute
make that
says it's
decision?
when they're in our care and custody, I'm required to do that. As a matter of fact, the irony of it all is on the date of the writ of mandamus, it was actually postponed because Mr. Moynihan wanted his client there for this hearing. And it was delayed an hour or two because he was actually at the doctor. And it was denied by the judge, and we had, despite us having this other thing worked out, we went forward and already had, like, the following week, he was scheduled for the actual surgery. And as part of that hearing, one of his surgeons did testify via phone, and said that he did believe that as soon as possible, but he did give us a time frame there where he thought that it wasn't necessary for it to be exactly the date they had scheduled. I do recall that vividly being part of the testimony.
So you couldn't provide this medical care? You didn't have the assistance to
I-
deal with this defendant's medical needs because it was so intense, and you wanted to send him down to a facility where he could get better treatment?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's not uncommon. We had another case out of Oak Ridge where it involved a DUI car wreck, and when they were released from the hospital, Oak Ridge did transport to our jail, and this person was unable to use the bathroom on their own, right? And I don't hire CNAs. I hire correctional guards.
Yeah.
And so we're just not, as a jail, set up for this type of medical care.
And this
And-
was an intense medical
Absolutely,
need.
yeah.
I mean, this wasn't something that was going to be able to wait
More
6
than one
months or
surgery
anything
involving
like that.
his head.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I'll go back to Ms. Correa. So now I have to ask the question. If Sheriff Barker has control over the inmates at the jail of when they go and when they can stay or what treatment they need, and he needed better medical care, why did the attorneys file this against Sheriff Barker to stop him from going to TDOC to get better care?
So, let me clarify. If you look at when the motion was filed by the district attorney to transfer him to TDOC, I think did you say August 11th?
On the form that Sergeant Cornett sent, the date is August the 11th of 2023.
So the district, I think is that a motion?
No, it's a request
Okay.
that he
If,
be
I
transported.
may be able to get my file and tell you the date.
I think he sent this to General Clark. Sergeant Cornett sent this to General Clark requesting that he be transferred to TDOC, and that was sent maybe by email. I don't know. It's on
If you'll give me
letterhead
just
from the Sheriff's Department.
a minute, I may not have printed that, but the district attorney did file a motion in front of Judge Tuck to ask the court to make that transfer occur, which the court has the authority to do. I'm not trying to start a war here, but that motion could have been set for a hearing any time after they filed it and before his surgery was already scheduled, which I think was September 8th, if my memory serves. And the court could have ordered it without our agreement. That didn't happen. It is not our duty to set the state's motions for hearing. We just could not sign an agreed order due to the fact that our client did not want to agree to be transferred to TDOC without an assurance that he was going to get the surgery in a timely manner. We tried to find out if they could tell us that, and they could not. We tried to give the client as much information as possible to make decisions. And we're limited by our constraints on what our clients want us to do. And so there was a window between those two events that the court could have heard it. And I'm not blaming anybody for that. That's just what happened. And if that, and eventually that is in fact what did happen. The court did have a hearing on that motion finally, and did transfer him once he was able to be moved, stable enough to be moved from the hospital to TDOC care where he is now. Does that make sense factually? I don't think I printed that,
Okay.
actually, I apologize, but
You
it's
have
online.
a couple more questions?
I just want to read the order of the petition from the judge. Spitzer, you know, he was addressing the writ of mandamus against Sheriff Barker, so I'd like to read his findings of this. I won't put the defendant's name or anything like that in there. If it lists it, I'll keep that quiet. But it says, I'll just read the ones, twos, and threes. It says, present for the petitioner were Andrew Pay and Ken Moynihan from the 7th District Public Defender's Office, and N.J. Yeager, Anderson County Law Director, who was appearing on behalf of Sheriff Russell Barker. 2, the petitioner's criminal case is currently pending in Anderson County General Sessions Court Division 2. 3, there was no proof presented that Anderson County Sheriff Russell Barker has failed to or has been reluctant to provide medical care for this petitioner. 4, that a writ of mandamus is an extraordinary legal remedy. 5, there has been no clear right of the petitioner that has been denied by Anderson County Sheriff Russell Barker. 6, the Anderson County legislative body is the real party and interest in this action. 7, the court finds that the responsibility for medical care for the petitioner is ministerial in nature. The means of providing the medical care is discretionary within the authority of the Anderson County Sheriff. 8, transfer to the TDOC, which is Tennessee Department of Correction, is permitted under the Gray decision. I'm not going to list all that. 9, the court declines to address whether this petition is ultra varies, is that how you say it? No attorney here, so. And whether the public defender's conduct is limited to criminal matters for which they have been appointed. 10, the decisive issue is that there is no proof the sheriff has failed to provide proper medical care for the petitioner. Accordingly, for the foregoing reasons, it's hereby ordered, adjudged, and decreed, and it's signed by Judge Spitzer on September 29th. And it says that this is dismissed, and the cost of this is taxed to the petitioner. So, you know, we added extra court costs to this defendant from this, but I just need to know, and I know what it is, but I just want Sheriff or Ann to tell me, is this a civil matter? What you guys filed against the sheriff, is it
It could be
civil?
quasi-civil.
Okay, I don't have any questions.
Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for being here today, Ms. Coria. This is one of those situations where I think it's a benefit to be both a county commissioner and an employee of the county. Getting started, Ms. Coria made the comment that it was her office's responsibility to worry about the care of her client more than the cost of it. And I can certainly understand that, but I would remind us of something we already know. It is our responsibility to also be concerned not only with the medical care of the inmates in our jail, but also the cost of doing so. Ms. Corey, do you know why TDOC was not able to give you definite answers on the medical care?
I don't know
Okay.
for sure. I could surmise that probably they would have needed to see all his medical records and have a doctor look at him.
Did anyone tell you during the course of any of this that they had to have the order from the judge first before they would be able to even diagnose or release any plan?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. I believe that was part of the testimony that day at the writ of mandamus. I could be wrong. You made mention that this could have been handled in Sessions Court, that the DA could have filed it there, right?
Can I clarify
Yes.
that? Just so we're clear. They did file a motion to transfer him to TDOC. I don't have that with me. I
Okay.
thought I did. If you look in the gentleman's Sessions Court file, it was filed and it was pending
Okay,
at the time, way before the writ was ever filed.
okay.
The district attorney asked us if we would sign an agreed order. That's what when I talk about an agreed order, we often do agreed
Sure.
orders, as you know,
Sure.
to do all kinds of things. And we do that, but we always have to have our client's permission if it's something that affects the client's permission. What I'm trying to tell this body is we did not have our client's permission to sign that agreed order.
So why file the writ of mandamus?
At that point, we were concerned whether he was going to be taken to his surgery or not. That writ was not granted, so
So-
it became moot.
And I remember that. Why didn't you file the writ in Sessions Court where the original motion was filed?
The writ, it doesn't, that court does not have jurisdiction.
So it had to be in criminal court?
That's correct.
Okay. You were worried that the jail would not take him for the medical care that was upcoming?
We were worried about him not being taken to his surgery. We understood that, we were worried about him. We were worried about the costs, of course we are. But he was, in our non-medical opinion, deteriorating so rapidly that communication was getting difficult. He was not losing his mobility. And of course, we had seen the medical records, which I won't get into, those would be private.
How long have you worked for the Public Defender's Office?
I've been there 25 years.
In any of those 25 years, have you ever known of a case where the jail did not take an inmate and get them proper medical care?
I don't think that I would be privy to that information.
But for whatever reason, you thought that might be a possibility in this case?
We were concerned that surgery might be delayed and he would deteriorate further.
Instead of filing the writ of mandamus to do so, did you ever consider, or Mr. Moynihan maybe ever consider, calling Chief Allen, calling myself, calling the sheriff and go, listen, we're not really going to agree to this. We really can't agree to this. Just wanted to let you guys know. You thought a writ of mandamus was a better option?
We had communicated to the district attorney, who was the filing party on that motion, and who although we deal with the jail a great deal, as you know, and we appreciate all of you all very much. We have a great relationship with our jail. We always have, and we don't want that to ever change. The district attorney had a pending motion in that regard, so we had communicated that to the district attorney, that at that time we could not sign an agreed order because of the issues, and that we were not getting assurances that he could get the surgery quickly, etc. That had been communicated to them. I know that we tried to find out from the jail if he was going to be taken from his surgery. That was told to me. That's secondhand. I don't want to, that's like, hearsay in a court of law, but that was my understanding.
So you had the communication with the district attorney's office, but you filed the writ of mandamus against the sheriff?
That's who the appropriate party was, according to what we believed at the time.
According to what you believed at the time?
Because the sheriff is the one over the gentleman's care, not the district attorneys, because they're two different legal actions. A motion that on the pending case is in Sessions Court. The writ has to do with the care, the mandate, an order mandating the sheriff to do certain things under his statutory authority has to be filed in criminal court, and it has to be done, or circuit court, and it has to be on the sheriff, just like a habeas corpus petition is filed against the sheriff as well.
And I understand that. I'm just trying to understand that the DA filed a motion in Sessions Court. You were letting the DA know, we're not going to consent to this.
Correct.
We're not going to agree to this.
Correct.
Just not consenting to it, you felt wasn't adequate enough, so the writ of mandamus had to be filed in criminal court.
I think the writ is irrelevant. It was moot.
I think it was very relevant the day we were sitting in court.
I understand that, but I think to this body and to the costs that it incurred for this client's medical care, the writ was not granted. The court didn't mandate the sheriff do anything.
I think it delayed the process.
I think his surgery he went to the surgery on the day that it was scheduled for, as far as I'm aware.
While he was still in our custody.
Correct.
Yes,
That's correct.
That's correct.
But we didn't dictate that he had to be taken on that date to that surgery. The judge did not grant that motion or that writ.
Now, I think what Judge Tuck finally granted was yes.
That's
because
correct.
if I recall correctly, Mr. Moynihan requested that we contact jails around us. And I was the one that done that, so I can testify to this part. To see if they were able to adequately hold this inmate and provide for his medical care. So I called the Campbell County Jail in Jacksboro. Can you guess the response I got from them?
Yep.
I called the Scott County Jail. I got the same results. I called the Morgan County Jail. I called Loudoun County. And then I called Knox County, who is much larger than we are. Their budget's quite a bit more than ours. All of them said, absolutely not. There's no way we can do this. One of them even asked, why don't you go ahead and send them on to special needs down in Nashville? Y'all can do that. then I had to explain to him why it was I was even asking the question. Upon testifying to that information to Judge Tuck in Oak Ridge Sessions Court, which I will also add that there was not an argument from the Public Defender's Office that day, then it was ordered that we could go ahead and proceed with the transfer to TDOC. So just to bring the Budget Committee up to speed on all of this, I understand that the Public Defender's Office job is to criminally defend people who are not able to afford their own attorneys, which the court appoints them to represent. I get that. What concerns me is the Public Defender's Office chose an option to object to a request that certainly was not necessary, and at the end of the day, did cost the taxpayers of this county a substantial amount of money that could have been avoided. So unless anything else is said that brings anything to my attention that I want to comment on, I'll yield the floor, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any other questions by the committee that would like to ask?
I have just one. Are there any circumstances where you would go against the wishes of the client?
The only time I can ever do that is if I can't even really do it then. When I have an incompetent client, when I'm talking about mentally incompetent, they don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand the legal system, who I am, the judge's role in the legal system. Those kinds of things determine, then I can ask for a forensic evaluation, whether they want it or not, because I can't go forward without their case, and they're not competent. I have to make an assessment on the front end, whether I think they understand what they're doing, and I need a psychologist to do a determination. That is the only time I am allowed to do that, other than legal strategy, like during a trial. For example, a client gets to decide whether to testify or not. They also get to decide whether to have a trial or take a plea agreement. And I get to determine strategy during a trial, what legal motions would be appropriate during a trial. But other than that, I'm bound by what they want, even when it's not in their best interest.
Bound by
By my ethical duties as an attorney, which I took an oath to uphold. And that is what I believed we were doing in this case. I do want to clarify that writ didn't cost the county any money in terms of filing costs. Those costs were taxed to the petitioner. It did not delay the surgery. And that motion could have been heard before that writ was ever filed. It could have, and it wasn't for whatever reason. And maybe people were just trying to figure out, we all have a lot of work to do, including the DA's office, ours. And had it been expedited, maybe this could have been avoided. But I don't think our lack of, or non-agreement to sign that agreed order was the cause of this problem in and of itself. It was a confluence of a lot of things that we could not avoid. We have signed agreed orders to that effect in the past, by the way.
Commissioner Beauchamp?
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I just have statements at this point.
Okay,
so.
let me, Commissioner Mays had emailed you. I didn't know if you wanted to address any of what he had said. I could read the email, or
I
if you
would
want to
prefer we
reply.
not read that
Okay.
email. There were some things of a personal attack nature in that email I found offensive.
Okay. And that's fine. If
Yeah.
you'll, I just want to make, he's not here to ask questions, and so.
I get that, and I
wanna
respect
make
him
sure
in
he
all
sent an
regard.
email.
I've known him forever, but getting an email at 6:30 at night before I come to this meeting was kind of not called for.
I'll go to Commissioner Beauchamp, and then we'll kind of move on.
Yeah,
if
at this
there's anybody
point,
else
I've
to
just
move
got
on from.
statements. If anybody else wants to ask questions before I make statements.
May I be seated?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got one more question?
No, after
Okay.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Beauchamp
you can
is
be
done,
seated.
I just want to give Chief Allen an opportunity to address, to see if maybe there was some other issues we haven't spoken about yet. If he wants to, he may not want to, just want to make that offer
Okay.
to him. Thanks, sir.
So my statements are, I've worked in the system for 12 years now, under two different sheriffs. I worked under Paul White and Sheriff Barker, not for them directly, but we all have a close-knit relationship that we all have to work together with various attorneys, the jail, everything, with ankle monitors, with all kinds of stuff. And in my 12 years, I have never seen the jail, the sheriff, everybody that works at the jail deny somebody medical care, ever. And I've seen some intense cases. We've worked some intense cases. I mean, we've put some people out on ankle monitors because of these things. So I've kind of seen the worst of the worst in the medical field as far as dealing with the inmates at the jail. And under both sheriffs, neither one of them have ever denied medical care. This would have not happened. So I don't know where the breakdown is. I'm not going to say it's Judge Tuck. I'm not going to say this. But I'm not going to sit here and act like that this did not slow down the process. We're not going to sit here and say, oh, well, I've got a job to do, and it costed the taxpayers $1 million. A civil suit is not a job. Criminal offenses, defending those is the job. You don't sue elected officials. That has been one of my pet peeves in this county. You don't sue elected officials. We're all elected by the people. Pick up the darn phone and call somebody and say, hey, I'd rather you not transport him down there because I don't really want to drive to Nashville, or I'm concerned about his medical. Do not do that. And I'd hope everybody in this room that's sitting here as an elected official or as an employee of this county will walk away from this meeting today that you're not going to file suit against anybody, because a writ of mandamus is nothing but a lawsuit to say the Earth Sheriff did not do his job when he was doing his job. So I was going to try not to get too cranked up, but I'm real cranked up now because this is bullcrap that we're going to sit here and act like that $1 million is just going to be spent just because we had to. No, this ain't New York, so I would appreciate if you go back and tell Ken, we don't do things like that here in Anderson County. This could bankrupt a small county, and we've built our fund up, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like that was okay. So, hope you don't get offended by it, and we can go to court Monday and be fine with each other, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like $1 million is okay whenever this is not okay. It's not okay. So the next time your office has a problem with the DA or the sheriff or Shane Val or Lieutenant Allen, Tracy Wandell, Sabre Beauchamp, pick up the phone. We're all listed. But don't ever do this again to where we have to sit here and I have to search papers and do all this stuff and act like the sheriff's in the wrong whenever I've got a piece of paper that says he wasn't. Pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, can you not transport him right now because I'd like to talk to him. I don't want to do that in this county. That's not what we're going to do. But we don't have a choice, because the county legislative body is in control of having to pay the medical at the jail. So when Sheriff Barker gets all of his bills and comes to the podium and says, legislative body, I need you to pay this medical, just remember why we gotta pay it. But we have to pay it, we're obligated by law. But from here on out, if there's a problem, don't cost our taxpayers $1 million. Let's pick up the phone, but this ain't New York and we ain't gonna do it here. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. Lieutenant Al, did you want to speak? Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on, and first thing I need to do is add something to the agenda that we did, if the committee allow it. Under new business, we have another amendment. He gave you a copy on your desk. Do I hear a motion to add it to the agenda under new business?
Motion to
Motion.
add, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion,
Second.
got a second?
Second.
Get those.
Chairman, and it was a grant application.
This is a grant application, so.
Budget amendment and grant application.
Oh, sorry. Did you get that?
I don't think this is working.
I got you now.
Yes.
You okay with that being grant? Okay. Second. Any questions or discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries. Yeah, you're good. Robbie, cash and fund balance report?
Yes, sir. So, just really quickly, total fund balance for the general fund.
Sorry, I want to interrupt one time. Ms. Corey, thanks for being here. You are welcome to, if you want to stick around, you can. I just want to appreciate you coming and talking to us.
I just wanted to make sure y'all were done with me because I thought there was a question about my budget request as well.
So that will be, we're going to, Robbie asked me to defer that to next month.
We're gonna,
Okay,
And we will defer that till,
no, that's fine, that would be great, thank you.
thank you for coming. Sorry, Robbie.
okay. So unassigned fund balance 10.4 million, total fund balance 17.3 million, cash 22,844,864, schools cash 19,588,512 with a fund balance of 8.6 million on the cash and fund balance report.
Any questions or concerns about the cash fund balance report? Okay, seeing none, moving on to the local option sales
Okay,
tax.
so option sales tax, we were down 4.6% for the county as a whole, but Anderson County portion was up 2.7% in February, 463,197.
And any questions on the sales tax report? And we're project this, are we where we need to be on
Yeah.
what we budgeted?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
A little ahead.
That's always good.
ARPA projects, same as last month, 1,577,992.02 in revenue loss still available, and the other eligibilities, even so, showing a negative of 6,000. It's projected to be a zero balance. So, any questions on the ARPA projects, the list? And we haven't
Anything
really
on
added
that?
anything recently, so.
Any questions? Thanks, Robbie.
And the last thing is the grant inventory for the county, which is the same as last month. Well, maybe not.
Any questions on it?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a list we provide of each grant,
Yeah.
which,
Nothing's changed since last month.
right.
Any-
Actually, the two at the bottom and highlighted in green,
Okay.
which probably doesn't show up in green on your paper, but
Just black.
on your computer it does, on your iPad. Our two new grants, Emergency Management Homeland Security Grant and the Sheriff's Department Retirement, Recruitment and Retention, which there's a budget amendment this month for that one.
For that, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, moving on.
All right, consent agenda, there are 11 transfers seeking approval as a group. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have a motion as a group?
Motion to approve as a group?
Got a motion by Commissioner Bocamp, second by Commissioner Vandegrift. As a group, any questions or concern? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
Thank you. 12 through 16 are from the school department. There are appropriations and transfers by payroll. The last one with the major line item transfer and a payroll transfer from the school nutrition fund,
You want them as a group, Rob?
please, if you all want.
Motion to approve as a group.
Got a motion as Commissioner Bochamp. Got a second by Commissioner Vandegrift, or what were the numbers again, 12 through 16? To approve as a group. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
All right. 17 through 19 are from the county clerk. Increasing data processing, 3,700. Oh, decreasing the data processing, 3,700, and increasing 709 for 2,000 and 399 other contracted services, $1,700. There's a 21,000 postage increase to his two postage meters, one in Oak Ridge and the other here in Clinton. And data processing fee, internet services, $1,962 for communications at their new Norris location.
Motion to approve?
Motion as a group.
Yes.
A motion to approve as a group. We got a second by Commissioner Bochamp. And any questions, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
Okay, the next appropriation, number 20, is from the library fund for using local restricted funds, $1,950 for communications at Briceville Library.
Got a motion to approve by Commissioner Vandegrift. We got a second by Commissioner Bochamp. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
21 is from EMS. It is a $150,000 EMS equipment grant. He only has till June to spend it, so we're trying to get it on the books this month. But actually, we're also doing the application this month, so a little bit, I know. So, and increasing other equipment, $150,000. So if the grant is not awarded, obviously, we will not be spending any of the funds, but it doesn't leave much time till after May, when you have a May commission meeting, to spend that much money, the end of May and June. So it'd be helpful to get it on, to have it available when it is awarded.
We got a motion to approve by Commissioner Vandegrift. We have a second. We have a second by Commissioner Bochamp. And we have any questions or discussion?
Yes,
Commissioner Smallridge?
just wondering exactly what equipment are we talking about?
Yeah, so we have not received the grant information for specifics, but right now we're trying to target things that we included on our capital outlay request, some training aids, and some equipment for ambulances, the stretcher loading systems. So right now, we're trying to target things that we did include on capital outlay so we could lower that request.
Are there restrictions on you only purchase certain things, or?
So what we've been told so far, it has to be on equipment. The state identifies equipment as anything that costs over $5,000 per piece. So you can't, anything less than that is considered a supply. Other than that, we know it's not a matching grant. It's a reimbursement grant, and we have to receive it and pay for it by June 30th. So we've been contacting vendors, asking them, can they meet that? Can they meet the requirements? Making sure we can satisfy that, because if we can't meet the requirements, then we're not even gonna apply. And like as Robbie said, we wouldn't even spend the funds.
Okay, Nathan, you said this would come out of the fund balance. We'd have to spend it first, so it need to come out of your fund balance.
No, we're increasing revenue. So
Okay.
we do all of our grants like that. We increase the revenue
Okay.
code, and then when the money comes in, we put it in the revenue code. And
Gotcha. And then a question: if we can't spend all 150, can we still get any of the grant? Like if we apply for the 150 and say we only got 130 spent, we would still get that money back, right? You don't have to.
Correct. So
Okay.
what we were also told is the max amount that each service can get is $150,000.
Okay.
The total pool is $2 million this is a statewide grant that the state legislation approved for this fiscal year. So that's why it has to be spent by June 30th. It's a state requirement, but that's the max. I'm not even sure we're going to ask for 150,000, but I felt if we only if we only transferred 100,000, but we could have spent 150,
Right.
you know, put the max there, but we don't have to spend that much, and we may not.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
we'll say too, EMS doesn't have many grant opportunities, so
Yeah.
this is kind
No,
of
we
neat.
Nathan talked about it.
Right.
Non-matching's even better.
Right, exactly. So number 22 is from the drug court. It's increasing other contracted services, $10,000 from their restricted drug court fees, which has $47,000 in it. So
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Val,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bochamp. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
23 and 24 are both grants. The first one is from the drug court grant is get it increased $3,500 for the end of this fiscal year, so we're adding that to the grant. And the next one is the recruitment and retention bonus. That is a public safety grant for the sheriff's department, and they're allowed to give a bonus. So far, we only have one employee that's qualified for this even, so we're putting $10,000 just in case more do qualify this fiscal year, but so far one has, like I said, is qualified.
Motion to approve as a group, Mr. Chairman, and as stipulation if we get a second.
Commissioner Val with the motion to approve. Got a second by Commissioner Smallridge.
I just want to confirm, Chief Sharp, this doesn't qualify for jail staff, is that correct?
No, sir.
This is a post-commission grant that came out, and I think it's for 5 years at $40,000. We submitted 4 people each year. And so basically, if I'm not mistaken, the employee has to be out of law enforcement or live in another state to be eligible for it's basically to recruit them. And it will pay them $10,000 over 3 years to come and stay with the department.
Thank you, Chief. I just wanted to stipulate, I won't be getting any financial benefit from this, so I'm going to be voting for it.
Any other questions, Commissioner Smallridge?
Yes, is this limited just to recruitment and,
Just recruitment only, for
it's
somebody that's already
40,000?
post-certified.
and it's 40,000 a year for 5 each?
It's, what it is for 4 people, so it's 10,000 each, and we can apply for it 5 years in a row, so that's why it's 240 or whatever, or maybe 200,000. So basically, if we hire somebody, like right now we have one that's eligible, that has been here 6 months, so they're eligible for their first step payment, I believe, maybe $1,000. So over a period of 3 years, it totals $10,000 for that employee.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
All right, the last budget amendment I have is a transfer from the election office for increasing part-time help, $7,000, and his machine techs, or the machine techs, $3,000, from decreasing deputy registrar, $7,000, and poll workers, $3,000.
Motion?
You got a motion by Commissioner Smallridge. We have a second by Commissioner Bochamp. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
All right. Under Section A, it is a grant application for EMS that we just discussed earlier for $150,000. There's no match to purchase of EMS equipment. Need approval of that.
We didn't need approval on that?
Yeah, I
Oh.
mean, yeah, this is for
I
the
thought we,
grant.
okay, motion. You got a second? Second by Commissioner Vandergrift. I thought we did that with the other, so.
Well, I guess we could have probably made it.
Sorry. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
Thank you. And on the next, the Section B, Senior Center Grant and Roof Project, I just put these both together because they're both for the Senior Center. I'm actually going to let the mayor speak to this if you would like to.
So the very first one is we received notice late in the year for extra funding for the senior program. So there's additional funding for $38,401 for supportive services, additional funding of $11,126 for evidence-based health promotions, and $27,779 for health and wellness initiative. So we have submitted a work plan, but we are not allowed to spend until the Aging and Disability approves that plan. So what I'm asking for is approval for, once we get that approved, that Robbie could go ahead and put it in budget codes so that we could start spending, because it has to be spent by June 30th. And then we can come back in May and, you know, put it on record with committee what codes it went in. But until we have approval, we don't know, you know, where it's going to go. I can't just come up with some budget amendment. So,
Right, until you.
yeah.
So do we need to just make a motion to approve with the correct budget codes?
That
Or-
yes,
Okay.
giving me permission to.
We have a
So
motion.
moved, Mr. Chairman.
We got a motion by Commissioner Val. Do we have a second? Got a second by Commissioner Vandergrift. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
And then the next one, for the roof at the senior center, the metal is still in good condition, and as I put in the justification, the metal roofs have, I'm not sure of all the terminology, but there are some type of screws on there, and there's seals that wear out. This is starting to happen more frequently, and we'll get very small leaks. Either Roger and Ricky have gone up and repaired them. Sometimes they're not able to. Then we have to get a professional to go up there and redo those screws. We have a proposal that is, because the metal's still in good condition, this would be a good long-term solution that is considerably less than re-roofing. And I put the description in there for, it's basically a process called retrofit. And so I'm asking for possible funding on that. And there's a couple of sources. We've got $126,000 available in a Capital 171 fund, or we have ARP funds or general fund balance. And I'm good either way. I think we could still leave plenty in that 171 fund, and that makes sense to just use that and preserve your ARP funding. So that would be my recommendation, but it's completely up to you all and whatever Robbie thinks.
We got questions or a motion? You got a question? You don't have to make a motion. I just. Motion to approve?
Second.
We got a first, we got a second. Did you have a fund, or we want to defer to Robbie on?
I'm fine using the 171. I mean, we really don't, technically there is already a budget there. We don't have to bring it, but when it's a big expense like this, we want to let you all know and let you make that call as far as, you know, if you want to spend the money in the 171 fund. We have plenty of money in that fund to take care of this, so.
And you have a question too on top of that? You just want to know? Okay.
No.
You, Commissioner Stallridge?
Yep. Mayor, Mayor, have we done anything to that roof since we purchased the facility?
No, other than just, you know, when we, you know, have an issue on one of those screws or something, then
Repair.
we'll repair
Yeah.
that. But no, sir.
And did we have any other companies look at it to give us any kind of other proposals? I mean, I know you said it's cheaper than a new roof, but I didn't know if we had, like, if there was other things they could have done to kind of prevent the same thing, different technology.
What we will do is I went with the one quote from one of our regular vendors, and I'm certain that Catherine will require me to also get other, given the limit.
Okay.
But I know that usually that particular vendor is lowest on other
Okay.
projects, so I feel good about,
The
you know,
amount.
that one as far as a bar.
Okay.
And if something comes in lower, then we would go lower, and you wouldn't need all of that budget amendment, so.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
So next, section C is dispatch and EMS communications equipment. I know a couple of commissioners have requested we purchase more radios with the money that's available and with the ARP funds that we initially put the 1.2 million. And there's a quote here for dispatch and EMS to have some additional radios, and it's $60,367.45. I would say, I think this was discussed in the workshop as well, right, correct, Mayor? Or not? I don't remember. I wasn't there, so it's not.
I don't remember it being discussed.
Bryce, you want to come up and talk about this maybe?
I think it was last budget meeting,
Okay.
It was a discussion
Because, and that,
came up.
and this came from the discussion that you guys were retrofitting some radios, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just make-
So I wasn't here last month at budget, but I went back and rewatched it and kind of saw that there's some questions regarding, like, you know, some extra radios for the sheriff's office and prior, I know I said that currently we were fine until something come along. E911 approached me and said that we can expand our capabilities within dispatch. With us adding 8 or 9 different departments onto the system, adding these radios in dispatch will expand their capabilities to talk to everybody. Currently, they only have a certain amount of slots that they can choose from. So if they were going to choose somebody, they'd have to move that channel into that particular slot and then have to move back. And so this will add that function to where they won't have to do that. Every channel will be pre-populated on their console, so they wouldn't have to switch back and forth. The EMS headsets, it's not a part of the radio. Well, it is a part of the radio, but it's not an actual radio itself. I've talked with Nathan about this, and I know for previous years he's kind of put it in his capital outlay. This would just be like a kind of a pilot to see if the crews would actually use them. When I worked at the Clinton Fire Department, we had them over there. I used them all the time. I'm a big proponent of hearing protection, so it gives that added benefit. But also, I've worked on the ambulance, and I know how hard it is to communicate between the driver and the attendant in the back. This will give the attendant in the back the wireless capability to still provide patient care, as well as if he needs to tell his driver something, whether it's to, you know, kind of step it up and go emergency traffic, or, you know, tell him to slow down a little bit because he's trying to do something. He would have that capabilities to do that. So it's not a radio, but it's tied into the radio. So if they're driving down the road, they can just hit a button and talk on the radio.
And, Robbie, will we have a motion or a second on this?
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bojan, got a second by Commissioner Stallridge. My question is, the original money we designated for the radios, I know it came in cheaper than we thought. Does this 434 still keep us within that same amount of money?
I think
Is that
so.
a Robbie question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right now, we still have 247,000.
Okay, so we're I knew we
Yeah,
came in pretty
well-
good, but I know there's still stuff we gotta buy, right?
86,000 of it is still pending, but that
We
is.
have a PO, it's committed already on
Yeah,
the purchase
so
orders. but-
it's the last 50 radios that we're waiting on from the first initial purchase.
Okay.
So that's where that is, and I think there's like 167,000 left out of that portion.
And has the system gone live already? Or are we still waiting for
No,
those
we're
last?
still
Okay,
programming
waiting on all of them to
radios
get in.
and
Gotcha.
waiting on MOUs, and EMS has deployed their portables out. So it's been a week now-ish. So they're actually been using, they're not on the system, but they have the capability to talk on the system. They're still on their old UHF system. Till they get those, flash keys, what he proposed last month, once we get those in and we get those programmed into those radios that need it, they could fully switch over at that point.
Okay. Commissioner Val, you got a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Robbie, I want to make sure I'm understanding what we're talking about here, and I may have already gotten confused. Are we talking about these being incorporated into the ARP funds? Okay. Other than the mayor, Bryce, I don't know if you are you on the 911 board?
Yes.
Okay. I know in the past, usually the 911 board has pretty good funding as far as purchasing equipment. It gets a little hairy with them when it comes with personnel salaries and benefits and stuff, but, and not that I would want to cut them out of any benefits, but would they not be able to purchase their side of this equipment with the 911 funds?
Yes, I mean, we truly could, but my thinking on it was that, the county has invested a huge portion into the end user with the portables and the mobile side of things, that we also need to do it on the front end with the dispatching side of things. I could, of course, go before the E911 board and present this as well.
Just a thought. I mean, that just crossed my mind. Go ahead, Nathan. Or I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, you say go ahead, Nathan.
Old habits.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Also being on the E911 board, we do have quite a bit of expenses that will be coming up for E911 in the future. So the emphasis was thinking if we could have some additional help with the equipment that's going to be directly used by the dispatchers, and asking if we could do it this way, we have those resources financially as a board to continue to invest with some big projects that are going to have to come. We have server updates and other things that we're going to really have to consider. We've had some software that we've expanded to help with what dispatch. So I'm just answering the comment. There are a lot of items that will be coming up that E911 will be investing financially in.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions or concerns or discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, likewise. Motion carries.
Nathan, don't go anywhere. Well, you're up. So next up is a fiscal year 24-25 EMS budget discussion. And I'm just going to let Nathan talk about this. We were scheduled to do this in March, where there are budget hearings, but that got canceled. So give him a little bit of time today.
Oh, sorry. Who, Mayor?
Did you all do the Scott Nation Veterans
It's on new
Amendment?
business.
It's on
That's
new
after
business?
this.
Okay, I was just asking because Scott was still here, so
Yeah.
and I know Nathan's is gonna be very long, so.
I thought we were gonna set a new date just to take up Nathan's.
So, yeah.
So Tyler and Aaron can be here.
And that's what, I didn't know how much discussion we're gonna have tonight, because I know both Tyler and Nathan, you're Nathan, Aaron's not here, and so, we had talked about doing another workshop, trying to where we could have some more time. I just didn't know if you were gonna give an overview tonight, or how much discussion we wanted to have, because I think it would be beneficial to have all our,
Completely whatever the committee decides, I'd be more than happy to go either direction.
what's the desire of the committee?
I'd like for everybody to be here.
Because I do feel like we'll have to repeat a lot of it, and I don't,
Understood.
you have to repeat yourself twice, and then,
And I know Robbie last year suggested that we sit down and really look at the EMS budget, so I would like to just kind of solely take up EMS and see what we need to do and
Okay.
things like that.
how do y'all want to set a date now, or?
I would like to set a date, and I'm free whenever. I'm across the street. I'm good.
So
As long as it's
commission,
not next week,
commission meets on the 15th. It's a day meeting. So usually the 16th through the 19th, the 22nd through the 26th, and you have the 29th and the 30th as well. I don't know if there's a good date for you, Mayor.
Couldn't pull your phone out and just start looking? Is there?
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
and I would have to get it.
Yeah,
paper
publicize it
in
right
time
and give us,
to do that. So I'd need to know pretty quickly about if it was going to be anytime earlier. I mean, the week of the 22nd, we'd probably be good getting it in the paper in
Okay.
time. So, or we can do May as well. I really want to bring the budget to the committee in May, though, complete for everybody.
and the budget will be on the ninth, or the budget committee meeting
On the
May will
9th
be
of
9th.
May, yeah.
Would either the 2nd or the 24th, 25th, one of those weeks? And Mayor, you can look at your calendar and let us know, but kind of the target, is that, for the committee, does that seem okay? Okay,
Yeah,
so either
for
that
me.
last week, full week of April and / into May.
Yes.
What time of the day would that?
Afternoon, like,
4, possibly.
4 or later.
That's what I'm okay with that.
okay,
4:30,
I know
Okay.
5,
I would,
have
yeah.
two things,
whatever.
okay,
both 24th and 25th in the evening. I have
okay. So 4:30, and I know when, the 24th is church night, so I probably want to avoid that Wednesday, if we're gonna do it later,
Well, might
but,
as well keep it on Thursday.
okay. So
Maybe
either the
the
25th or the 2nd, so
Yeah.
if Mayor will look at your calendar and, 4:30, and then shoot something out and kind of see what's best for, does that work for you, Nathan?
I think
You'll be here no
whatever you
matter what,
suggest
right?
is going to work for me. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I think Commissioner Beauchamp's right with 2 of our members missing, and I don't think we expected them to both be gone.
Other
so.
than May 17th, my son's graduating high school, so I won't be in attendance.
Well, we expect you to be at your son's graduation.
May 17th. May 17th it is.
Yeah. All right, thank you. And then Robbie, that was, so new business, the only thing left?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
And you guys had that, Robbie gave us a copy of that item.
Under new business, the veterans, there's asking for $2,444 out of unassigned fund balance, increasing the Veterans Service Assistance Code, $2,270, and Social Security and Medicare that goes with it. Currently, that employee is working 30 hours a week, and this would take her to 40 and increase her pay from like $14 to $17. And that would obviously continue on into next year's budget. But the veterans budget, the directors offsets this
Okay.
next year's budget. This year, we had a vacation payout that is the reason we're asking for it out of unassigned.
Okay.
motion.
Got a motion approved by Commissioner Allredge, second by Commissioner Vandergriff. Any questions or discussion? So no, it does not affect next year's budget.
It won't increase it at all.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carries.
And the last thing I have, and this is also an operations, but since I already sent it out, I decided to put, it's an Office of Mayor, $100,000 grant. There's a match of $21,750 for TDEC as the funding agency for a Brownfield redevelopment area grant. The mayor might could speak to this more because if you need her to.
Do we need to add this to the agenda?
We did. I asked you about a grant application, Anna.
Oh, that was the other thing. Sorry, I thought we were talking
So
about
this
the.
is for Ben's mobile, right? Mobile, the
Mayor would
park.
like to speak on it?
Well, sure. So we're still looking into it, but at one of the Tennessee County Services Association meetings, TDEC unveiled a new grant program they were doing that had 3 different tiers of funding for different projects. One of those is an investigative phase, and I specifically asked, and I know several of the commissioners who were here actually were in attendance as well, I asked if maybe we could use the investigative portion to take a look at some of the issues that citizens have raised in that particular area. We do have some some homes that were burned, that does have some contaminants. We've had some stormwater issues, and maybe this is a way for us to get some understanding. And then TDEC does have another phase. Once we kind of learn what's going on there, then you can put together some type of plan. So John Prince has done the research on it. We're looking at it. He has put in there $100,000 just as a placeholder. We may not be asking for that much, but because of our status as a county, and like some of the counties that aren't doing as well could get the fees reimbursed, but we are in a better position, so we do have to match the fee portion. But it's not 100% certain the amount, but that's the bar that we're putting in there, because that's the max, right, John? Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve the grant application?
Motion approved.
Motion from Commissioner Val, second by Commissioner Vandergriff. We don't need a code or anything for that to come out of right now, right? Okay. Any questions or discussions about the grant? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. Motion carries. Any other new business that we needed to add or missed? Okay. Motion to adjourn. Sounds good.